Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Recha Kodash. A double honors and salutations to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Khalakar coming back at you with another video. And this right here, you know, what's in the air right now, there's a sense of another scamdemic that's coming, right? A plandemic that's coming with the food industry, with this additive that they're feeding cows. It's not looking good for cows right now. And if it's not looking good for cows, nobody's inspecting them. Nobody's doing the health inspections on them because of the government shutdown. Cows are being sick. They're falling out because this additive here that they're in their feed is supposed to stop the cows from producing methane, reducing methane, which in turn, would kill Gates's company. He wants to reduce, help the climate out, which he just flip-flopped on that. He wants to help the climate out, and one of the ways of doing that is reducing cow farts. In return, this additive is making the cow sick, which, if it's making the cow sick, that beef, that milk, that cheese has all been put on shelves. It's not been regulated. It's been passed through. Now, if you can, go to a local butcher. But at the same time, everybody had to start feeding this additive to these cows. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to play some videos. We're going to get in some articles. We're going to see what the hell this is. I got a little deep seek going on. We're going to see what the hell this is because, remember, Bill Gates said that there was going to be another scamdemic.
So far, we're not.
You really think we're not?
No, we're absolutely not.
Now, this interview was in February of 2025, earlier this year. We're at the end of this year, right? And at the beginning of this year, they told farmers they had to feed their cows, their animals, this additive to reduce methane. You had 80 days to do it. You're going to see a video of a man talking about it. You had to feed them for 80 days. A lot of people started in the beginning. A lot of people started around October. And they're seeing significant changes in their animals. Like I said, the government is shut down. There's nobody testing, expecting food quality, which is going to lead to what? Another scamdemic. I'm speaking as a man, but we know something is coming, right?
You mentioned a number of scary prospects. So what keeps you awake at night?
The chance of a natural pandemic in the next 4 years is, somewhere between 10 and 15%. And, it'd be nice to think we're actually more ready for that than we were last time, but so far we're not.
You really think we're not?
No, we're absolutely not.
Why not?
People, rather than having a consensus about, what tools are missing, are mostly still replaying the various mistakes that were made. So, I wouldn't say that we're as far along as you'd expect after trillions of dollars and millions of lives have been lost. So far, we're not.
So, this devil Bill Gates, who's a Microsoft technocrat, billionaire, is telling you about another scamdemic that's going to happen, which in all actuality, he's trying to create it. Remember, they had the Georgia Guidestones that got destroyed, keep population under 500 million, right? The scamdemic itself, Cornflakes 19, he's over there in Africa, giving these African nations contraception so they don't have children. Not only that, he's deleting them off. This is this devil, man. Let me get a scripture. Let me get Proverbs 4. I think I'll start at 14. Proverbs 4 and 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Because you got people out there. You got Jakes out there. People and Jakes. When I say people, the other nations. When I say Jake, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, right? They will look at this and say, oh, there's nothing wrong. He's just trying to stop the climate change, stop the earth from getting hotter. But we're going to show you in the article, he's flip-flopping on that now. Lord will. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go down the way to evil men. This is an evil man. He's a devil. Esau Edom. He got some money, and he's controlling, these lesser luminaries, controlling the way things go. But he's a puppet as well. Elon Musk puppet, Donald Trump puppet, Bill Gates puppet. These are all puppets to the wicked elite, lesser luminaries of the wicked. Verse 15 says, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Yes, we're supposed to eschew, right? Wickedness. I believe that's what scripture says, love righteousness and hate wickedness, right? That's also scripture, Isaiah 5 real quick, just to bring it home. It might be Jeremiah 5. Isaiah 5 and verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteous of the righteous from him. So woe unto them, destruction, that call evil good and good evil. This is, I didn't even play this, did I? This is evil right here, right? We're going to go back to Proverbs 4, but this is evil. Let's listen.
Developed by Dutch company DSM that allows farmers to reduce enteric methane emissions from our dairy herds.
So 30 of Arla's farms in the UK will trial the use of Bovaer, which claims to reduce methane emissions from cow's gas by 27% on average. It's made by a rival firm of Bill Gates' company, DSM Firmenich, which is a Dutch multinational. And if successful, it's hopes more UK farmers will start to use the feed additives.
Which Bill Gates has made his as well. It's called Rumen 8. Same thing.
In their own flock. So what's the problem?
Bovaer is a feed additive developed by Dutch company DSM that allows farmers to reduce enteric methane emissions from our dairy herd.
Going back to Proverbs, because that's evil. That's pure evil. It's trying to stop cow farts. Back in the day when I was young, the doctor would tell you, or people would tell you, don't hold in your farts, because you can die. You can kill yourself by holding in farts. Now they were getting the additive in their food to help them produce less farts. So where's those farts going, right? They got to be going somewhere, making the cow sick. You know, this is, remember, they're doing this to, you know, make lab-grown meat, you know, reduces, they're going to eat all the meat while you eat this lab-grown fake meat. Verse 16 says, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief. Their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more until the perfect day." You know, when I was in the grocery store yesterday, I was, you know, getting a couple things, cook some dinner. You know, this dude looked at me and said, "Hey, sunshine." And I immediately, you know, I stopped and looked at his ears, because I thought he had an earpiece in or something like that. I said, "I'm talking to you." You know, and he said, "Thank the Lord you can be blessed every day," or something like that, something along those lines. And I smiled and said in my mind, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? Because this shining light, people see it. Even when he said that, he thought I was going to, you know, he didn't think I was going to come off all like rude and like, "What the hell you calling me sunshine for?" You know? But he obviously saw something. You know, and that's this wisdom, Abaratazah. You know, it ain't, he ain't said for nothing, right? You got to believe that. I'm read that again. "But the path of the just is as a shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day." That perfect day when complete righteousness, right? That perfect day that's coming. We got a day of the Lord that's coming, which is gloominess, darkness, destruction. And then we got that perfect day, that first day in the kingdom, right? It's going to be perfect. We're going to be perfect. The law, statute, commandments going to be written in our inward parts. We don't have to worry about feeding animals, reducing cow farts and whatnot, additives to reduce cow farts. If anybody can't see there's something wrong with that, you just can't. You just don't have it. You don't have the light, right? Verse 19. Here's the point. It says, "The way of the wicked is as darkness; they know not at what they stumble." The way of the wicked is darkness, just like we just read in Isaiah 5:20. "Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight." The wicked. The Lord is not in all their thoughts, but they think that they're going to be able to, you know, move out with their plans, which is the New World Order. You know, on these increments, all these stepping blocks, you know, that's getting closer and closer to that day, right? We're going to listen to this. All right, this is a podcaster. Or somebody, you just, let's listen, we can break it down.
Just interviewed Hubert Van Drop in a podcast. We are on his farm here, 600 dairy cows. He's been feeding Bovaer for about 3 weeks. High
I go that Borvera again.
yielding farm, 40 liters per cow. It's they're milking now, so they're actually standing up here, waiting to be milked. We are coming through what the issues has been over these 3 weeks. He stopped now feeding Bovaer. He lost about 15% in feed intake and about 2 kilos per cow. He lost a few cows before he stopped, and he's never seen this reaction before. And we actually
See, people are losing. These farms are losing cows. They're losing, you know, feed. They're losing cattle. They're losing everything because of this feed, this Bovaer feed that's supposed to reduce methane. Is making the cows sick. It's getting them sick, and not only that, they'll still send these cows to be butchered. They'll still take the milk from them. They'll still make cheese and whatnot out of it. This is not a good sign at all. That's why we say this something is been cooked up. Something has been put together. Another scamdemic, maybe, perhaps.
Have other clients also. They have seen some problems, and we actually see the production level on several farms that are going heavily up and down. It's protein, it's energy efficiency, it's the yield, it's just the overall health of the cows are a bit all over the place. The reason is
The overall health of the cow is all over the place, right? Something is cooking, right? They already said what the cows had the chickens had bird flu. The cow had some disease. Man, the animals, man, I know they sick. They sick of this devil. It's like, man, every time we turn around, this devil trying to feed us, do this. You know, cows should be out there eating a green pasture, man. Not some feed that you got all put together, chemically made and whatnot.
that we have a law here in Denmark that we have to feed Bovaer for 80 days. It's a law that came in place the 1st of January this year, and few farms has used it in the beginning of the year, so we haven't really had any feedback for the first couple of months. But now, since we are in the end of the year, the remaining farmers are trying to start up. A lot of them started up 1st of October to reach the 80 days. But we just see probably every second farm has an issue, and it's you can't really say that it's the same on all farms. It really depends on the way you feed and what level you're on. But I made a podcast this Friday, and it's coming out, and I think next week.
So like I said, these cows are catching hell, you know. And Kill Gates, where's his one's at? Well, let's first let's go into let's read what Bovaer is. It's a feed additive that reduces methane emissions from ruminant animals by suppressing the enzyme responsible for methane production in their digestive system. So basically, playing God, right? I want to reduce the farts. You know, I want to reduce it from their feed or in their farts. It says Bovaer, 1/4 tablespoon daily in cow's feed, 30% less methane produced. Takes effect immediately, proven safe for animals, farmers, and consumers. But how? Right? That can't be right. It says it is a 3-nitroxypropanol 3-NOP compound that, when added to feed, can decrease enteric methane emissions by an average of 30% in dairy cows and up to 45% in beef cattle, according to research and trials. It is considered safe for animal consumption and the food supply as it is broken down into natural compounds during digestion. But how? How if the FDA, the USDA is shut down right now? This is in the UK, by the way. So their government isn't shut down. So again, this is an article about Kill Gates. Farmers Forum. It says flip-flop. Billionaire Kill Gates says global warming will no longer kill us all. But when he just saying this was his campaign. It says, I think this article from a couple days ago. It says Kill Gates has called for a strategic pivot away from doomsday climate rhetoric, insisting the crisis will not lead to humanity's demise, and urging world leaders to prioritize poverty, and disease over emission targets. So, being poor and disease, right? So basically, he want more. Since now that it's gonna get into it, now that he's got this overall genius idea to stop cows from farting, it's gonna cool the planet off a little bit more. It's not gonna overheat. So that means we need to get more cows and feed more people. Not only that, the disease is because a disease is gonna come from this, possibly. It says writing on Gates notes Monday. One day after the UN declared the 1.5 Celsius global irretrievably loss, the Microsoft's co-founder said, although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise. People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. He flip-flopped, did a complete 180. This is the same guy who earlier this year told Time the damage we're doing to the climate will make parts of the world unlivable if we don't act fast. Here we go. Gates wants COP30 annual climate conference this year set for November 6th to the 21st, which is happening right now in Brazil, to focus on improving lives, not temperature. The biggest problems are poverty and disease, just as they always have been. He wrote, downplaying climate as the primary threat to the vulnerable. Yet Gates himself has built a multi-billion-dollar stake in the very climate solution he promotes. Though Breakthrough Energy Ventures has $2 billion plus climate tech fund, he's invested in carbon capture, climate works, nuclear fusion, Commonwealth fusion, electric aviation, zero EVA, and methane reducing cattle feed, rumen 8. So again, he's doing this too. His portfolio also includes Impossible Foods, Beyond Meats, and Natural Foods, all betting on decarbonized food systems. TerraPower, his nuclear startup, recently secured $1.3 billion in U.S. subsidies. Critics note the irony. Gates funds adaptation tech while warning of climate peril. In 2024 interview, he said, we're going to have to innovate our way out of this. Human activity has already changed the planet irreversibly. So this devil, this deceiver, is up to no good. He's up to no good. He's feeding the cattle, which he owns a lot of the farmland in America, right? This lab-grown meat, Impossible Foods, Beyond Meats, Natural Foods, and betting on decarbonized food system, right? Let's get a scripture. Let's stay in Isaiah 24 and 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant, the ordinance, the order, right? Let's go into that word, ordinance. I had it pulled up. Ordinance. That was a tongue twister for me. Circle 1300, ordinance, in authoritative direction, decree or command, narrowed or more transitionary than a law. From Old French, ordinance, Modern French ordonnance, or directly from medieval Latin ordinatia, from Latin ordinantium. You get it. It's a decree. It's a command. Put in order. They broke that. There's no order to say you have to do these to cows. Do that to cows, man. And like I said, the government is shut down. So it's going to bring a lot of, things not being tested. Things that's out of place. No FDA testing, the Food Drug Administration. No USDA testing, because the government is shut down. And if they are, some people are going to work, right? But not everybody is showing up to work. Not everybody is. Not only that, this is also this happened. A lesser-known farmer's almanac will fold after 2 centuries, citing money troubles. If you don't know what the almanac is the weather prediction. They predict the weather, right? Every year. I think they've been going since, one has been going since the 1700s, and the other one came in the 1800s. But they're closing their doors, right? They used to predict the weather. So there's an alarm, after 208 years, America is folding. America is going into this place that's the unknown. We all know it leads to what? The New World Order. The New Order of the Age. What else I got? So I asked DeepSeek, right? It said if cows are being fed bovavir, an additive to reduce methane emissions, what health problems could happen to the cows, and could those health problems affect humans that consume the meat and milk that comes from the cows? Now, of course, it's going to tell you, oh no, that can never happen, because they tested it and all of this stuff. But I asked it another question. I said, but if something was to go wrong with the meat and milk, what could it possibly be? Thinking from I don't know how I messed it up. Thinking from if things do go wrong. So if things was to do go wrong, it says scenario 1, direct contamination of food product. This would be the most direct path for the human health issue, a failure. The 3-NOP molecule itself, or a harmful metabolic light produced from its breakdown is not fully broken down in a rumen and is absorbed into the animal's tissues and passes into the milk at a significant level. It says unlikely, but this is a primary thing regulator agencies, FDA, EFSA, test for. They require intensive residue studies that sophistically measure the concentration of the additive and its broken down products in milk, muscle, liver, and fat. For Beverager to be approved, these studies had to be demonstrated that residues were either undetectable or so low that they pose no risk even after a lifetime of consumption, according to a large safety margin of 100x or 1,000x. The what if this fundamental assumption was wrong and a harmful metabolic light accumulated, the concern would be chronic toxicity. This could mean low-level, long-term damage to an organ or liver or kidneys, or a potential increase in cancer risks after decades of consumption. This is the worst-case theoretical scenario from a toxicological standpoint. So, again, they're adding just more defiled shit to our food, right? The scriptures say, Ezekiel 4 and 13, and the Lord Yahweh, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles where I will drop them. Our food is defiled, right? Let's go into that word defiled real quick. See what we got here. Defiled. Sama'ah. Is that, or is Salakia? That's a ta. Tama'ah. Tama'ah. Tamah. Unclean, impure, ethnically and religiously, ritual or place. So we're eating impure. Let's look at that word impure. Mixed with foreign matter, adulterated, contaminated, water, milk, mixed with foreign matter. Is not bovidare a foreign matter? Is not rumen ate a foreign matter? Ethnically. In a way it relates to moral practices, we know, they got defiled food out here ritually or of places. So unclean. Let's look at that word unclean. Look up. Dirty. Sinful. Impure. Unclean foods. Right? Go to the root. To be unclean. To become impure. Tamach. So, unclean, impure food. The cows are now being hit with this. It says this could be in low levels, yeah. Indirect effects through altered rumen microbiology. This is more complex and plausible through still unproven pathways that could go wrong. Failure suppressing methogens, the methane producing microbes significantly alters the rumen ecosystem that shifts could promote pathogens. It could inadvertently allow for the proliferation of harmful bacteria like E. coli or Salmonella in the gut. If these pathogens are present in higher numbers in the gut, they could more easily contaminate the carcass during slaughter, or in the case of some E. coli strains, can be shed in higher levels, poison a risk to milk and hygiene. So I'm not going to keep reading. You get the point. It could be fucked up. It can mess you up. And the only time is because the FDA, the USDA is out of order right now, right? There's nobody there. And this devil already told you that's going to be a scamdemic again, right? So, and now he's flip-flopping and telling you that we need to worry about disease and poverty. No more climate shit. We need to worry about disease and poverty. So, something is coming. Something is coming. So, I'm going to end it there. I'm pretty sure that's all I had. That's all I had. So, with that said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakha, Kadash. Double honors to salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. Hope to see you on the next video, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.